Okay, so I noticed an error that we had already wrote. We had this flex 10 auto here, and we have it on the wrong element. We need it on this upper logo class or logo element. So let's come in here and take this out. Basically, I wanted to re-explain kind of what this does, 10 auto on the flex. Basically, it allows this element here that we have it set on to remain the size that it is. And then, so we have this logo div, and then we have the menu div. And this allows this menu div to take up all the remaining space here. Basically, this flex 10 auto allows us to say, we want to reserve enough space for this element and the rest can go elsewhere. Okay, that's one way to really think about it. Okay, so now what I want to do here is we're going to want to restyle these links a little bit. So first thing, one thing you should get used to is looking at the computed values. So if I just like right click on an element and go to inspect, I have this element here. And then down on my right side of this tab, there is a computed tab. And this shows you all the computed styles that are being applied to the element. So it's a handy way to kind of figure out what values are being set on it if you need to overwrite something. So for example, we have text decoration line is underlined, and that's why these are underlined. And I want to get rid of these underlines. So let's go do that. So we have this menu item, and we want to target things with the class BTN. And I want to set the text decoration line to none. Okay, and we can save that. And we can see that the underline goes away. Okay. Now, based on this design, we want these to be, these look like they're purely white, and I'm just going to double check that by editing the text here, and then, whoop, I can double click this and I can see that it is all white. It's FFF. So we can change the color to FFF. And this is looking pretty good already. What I notice here is the outline on this join button is not correct. And I think we have the wrong class on there actually. So yeah, notice that the outline dark is this button right here, and what we want is the outline light. So let's go ahead and let's just fix this class real quick. Like so. Okay, that's looking pretty good already. The next thing that I want to do is I just kind of want to check the spacing in between each of these elements. And this is actually kind of difficult to do. But I guess we can give it a little bit of a try here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to draw a box between these two elements, something along these lines. And we see that the width is 49.5 pixels, or we could probably call that like 50. So what I want to do is put 50 in here. And okay, the way to think about this are these are like kind of button elements. So they kind of look like this and like this. And then they're each going to have like a padding in between them like this. That's the same. And so this distance here should really be like half of that. So yeah, I think that's probably the best way to think about it. You know, scrap that. I think I'm wrong on this. This is the amount that we want right? It would be the padding that's, so the button would look something like this that has sign in it. It would look kind of like this. And so this would be the proper padding. Yeah. So, okay. So we're going to need like 50 pixels of padding here, or 1.563 rem. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to manually adjust the padding inside of the button by using our padding left. And we're going to set a padding right on this. Now there are multiple ways you can set padding. This is just one of the options. We'll see other ways later. And then I'm just going to save this. And we're going to come in here and we're going to take a look at this. This honestly looks like way too much. And so I'm just going to get in here and I'm going to start troubleshooting and looking at this. And part of this is just the design, I think. And so if I measure the distance between these two is actually 50 pixels. Okay. So I think I was right actually at first. It should actually be a padding of 25 pixels because we need to divide this in half. So let's go ahead and adjust that real quick. Okay, that looks like a lot more what we're actually going for. That looks pretty good. The next thing that we need to do is we need to check like the font size. So I'm just trying to get it to allow me to click inside of here, and the font size is 33.9 pixels, so we call that 34. Let's go ahead and we can change the font size here. And lastly, I just want to check the font style, so it's Open Sans Regular. And is that what these are set to? And our font family is set to Open Sans. And so the font weight is 400 and regular, so we don't need to make any other changes to these. They're already looking pretty good. The last thing we have to figure out here is this, this icon. Now, I took this icon from Font Awesome. As you can see up here, Font Awesome 6 free, and it is a solid font. So what we can do is we can go to Font Awesome, and we can search for Globe. And you can technically pick whatever one of these that you want. I think I used the North America one because from North America, so it's natural, but feel free to use any of these other ones that you want. I mean, this is your project. So Earth Americas, I think, is potentially the one that we use. Let's go look here. Does it have the right squiggles? It might be this one, I think. You know, it's close enough. So I just copied the value out of there, and what I'm going to do is, so we're going to come to English, and I'm just going to post this in right here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap this English thing in a span. Okay, and a span is like a div, except it doesn't by nature split horizontally like on the page. It essentially just falls in line. Think of the brick theory. It's like setting a brick next to another brick. It just falls right in line, and you don't have to worry about it taking up too much space. But it's like a way to have a container around things, but still keep it in the flow of the document is how I would consider it. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to kind of reformat my code here. I don't like when my code goes outside of this line, so I try to keep it in here. Now, this causes issues when we do this. Essentially what happens is it's going to insert essentially like a space in between here and this element, and then it's going to put another space between this element and this span, okay? That's just how it works, and it's something you have to keep in mind. So what we can do is we can add comments in order to just eliminate the space. So I can put a comment that starts here and ends here. And then I can just delete this line. And then I'm just going to copy this same thing, and I'm going to put it right here as well, and then butt my span up next to it. Okay. And we're going to have a way to essentially put a margin in between these two things. So this is going to be a width of 21 pixels. So what I'm going to do is on this English word, I'm going to put, I'm going to add a class called icon label. That should be all right. And then inside of here, inside of our menu, we're just going to have an icon label. And it was going to be 21. And then we're just going to have a margin left of this many rem. Okay. And there we go. We have our little icon in there, and it should have the right spacing on this. And this is looking generally pretty good. Okay. So I don't see anything else that really needs to be done here. This looks good for this top section. Let's get started with the bottom section.